What's up, Browns fans? Welcome to episode 7 of the Dawgs podcast. Let's kick this thing off.
Welcome to the Dawgs podcast with your hosts Blake Renneker, Zach Kopp, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, everybody? As you can see, back in the studio, first time in 2 weeks. We're COVID-free, we think, we hope. So we got this brand new table brought to you by Josh. His handiwork, it looks great, so thanks for doing that.
Anything for the dogs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anything for the dogs.
In a small rental fee for the other shows you use. Before we dive too deep into this episode, big thing that's happened since last week, Justin had another baby.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, yes, thank you. Just continuing a legacy of Cleveland fanship. Hopefully, maybe they'll see something exciting in their years.
Maybe they'll see a win in person one day.
So the legacy of misery continues. Okay.
I mean, I can only hopefully raise them the right way. That's all I ask. If they end up being Baltimore or Steelers fans, they got to get out. They've got to go. But yeah, I had a second beautiful daughter. So, well done to the wife.
Yeah.
She did good.
Awesome, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right. Well, before we dive into today's episode, we got a good one lined up. Going to go through some Pro Football Focus rankings, a lot of naysayers out there that we're going to debunk. Before we would dive into this, though, I want to tell you guys about another show that's on this same podcast network. Check out 99 Miles Per Hour with Percy Gardner. It's a newer show, started up right around the same time that ours started up. He's been having some really awesome guests on there. I don't know if you guys have heard of somebody named C. Grant.
Yeah. He was pretty good.
Yeah, that C. Grant.
Yeah.
He just had him on the last episode. I watched it. It was awesome. So if you're looking for a new podcast to check out and you're looking for a fun one, Percy, obviously, super fun guy to listen to. Check out 99 Miles Per Hour with Percy Gardner.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know who Percy is, if you're listening to this, you're a Browns fan, you're a Cleveland fan, Percy pitched for the Indians in 2016. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we got him on this network.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yes, we do.
Doing big things. So, yeah, check out 99 Miles Per Hour, Percy Gardner. It's an awesome show. Tell them we sent you. You'll get a discount. All right, before we dive into these lists, some breaking news. Schefter just texted me. Browns trade rumor. David Njoku and a second-round pick for Yannick Ngakoue, DN from Jacksonville. What do you guys think? Would you give up David Njoku and a second-rounder for this guy?
I would say I would really be considering this depending on the Everson Griffin situation. I think we might be beyond Clowney now.
I hope so.
Yes, please, for the love of
the Lord.
I
I think the four of us are kind of like, done with the Clowney situation.
Yeah, for sure. To me, if you don't envision David Njoku as being a big part of your offense or a big part of your future, this is a young D end I think would be a good pairing next to opposite Myles Garrett. I think if you pick this guy up, you cut Olivier Vernon, then you can afford to pay this guy what he wants next year.
Yeah, and we looked at some of his numbers. So he's played in 15 games or more all 4 seasons. Sack totals 8, 12, 9.5, and 8. Like Blake said, you cut that $15 million off, a week before training camp, and you're good to go. I say we go get this guy right now. He doesn't want to be in Jacksonville. It says that he went on Twitter and he said he's good. He doesn't see them being in his future. Zach kind of talked about he wanted, $20 million a year. Hopefully, in the future.
Yeah, that's what he's on. He's a free agent after this season. He wants $20 million a year. We're probably gonna have to give Myles Garrett at least $20 million a year, and he wants an extension. I know we've been working on that. We've talked about that. I do like how durable he is. I think that if you're going out and you're getting Yannick, right?
and
yeah.
Ngakoue.
Okay, so if you're going out and getting this guy, you're saying that you want to absolutely think you can win it all in the next couple of years. If you're going out and you're going to pay this type of money, get this guy, you're thinking, hey, next 2-3 years, we're going to have a chance to win it all because you got a lot of other guys you got to pay coming up here in the next couple seasons.
This might sound crazy coming off of a 6-10 season, but I think you can say the Browns are in their Super Bowl window.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I know we just went 6-10, but on roster, or on paper, which we're gonna get into later in this episode, the Browns are very much in their Super Bowl window. They got 3 to 5 years to make this thing happen. If not, we're gonna be rebuilding again. Man, I don't want to do that without a Super Bowl at least.
That's kind of where Jacksonville's at right now. They kind of had that window for 2-3 years where their defense was
Very
unbelievable, and then now they're getting rid of one of their best players.
We've been there.
What best players?
We let Corey Coleman go just as I thought we were about to make a run.
Yeah, but I am going to say that if we do keep Njoku, I think he is going to be successful in this new system. I think a lot of it was he didn't like Freddie Kitchens at all, and he was pretty verbal about that the entire year last year. That he didn't like how he was being used, and he got injured, and how much was it not coming back from the injury because he didn't want to play for Freddie Kitchens.
Well, there was a lot of weird stuff, too, with Freddie. I mean, Rashard Higgins, that one blew my mind, that he was on the sideline pretty much. He caught like 3 passes last year or something?
Yeah.
I never got that.
No, and I feel like Njoku's been taking a lot of heat this offseason, even from us, saying that he might not be in our future. But if you go back just 2 years ago in his rookie year, he was trending very much upward. And then Freddie Kitchens happened. I feel like Freddie Kitchens derailed a lot of people's careers. So it's
got everybody
including
thinking Baker's going to be benched after week 1.
Yeah. So I feel like, I don't know, almost like last year should be wiped from the record books. So maybe Njoku, if he can catch the ball, But
and like we talked about, and I think I mentioned maybe in the free agent episode or one of those, the way Minnesota used both their tight ends last year with Rudolph and Irv Smith, I mean, that's how I see them using Hooper and Njoku, where Njoku's more that guy that's moving around. He's in the slot. He's kind of in motion. He's operating, always moving because he's a fast guy. He's an athlete. He's a freak. Mm-hmm. And Hooper's more of your traditional, just go muscle some guys and make tough catches. So.
We just want to clarify, by the way, this is just a rumor. This isn't confirmed. This might not even happen. This could be all hypothetical. We just want to let you guys know what we were hearing on our end. Keep everybody informed. Well, as we dive into this fun episode lined up here, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but a lot of talk going on right now. Joe Burrow projected to have a better season than Baker Mayfield by Pro Football Focus. And then on top of that, Rob Ninkovich on ESPN coming out and saying that he thinks Joe Burrow is just flat out better than Baker Mayfield, which, I mean, maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but I don't understand how you can say that before Joe Burrow even takes a training camp snap. Rob Ninkovich ranked AFC North QBs, Lamar Jackson 1, Ben Roethlisberger 2. I'll give him that. Joe Burrow 3, Baker 4. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on. Just because Baker had to play with Freddie Kitchens last year does not mean that he is all of a sudden not a former Heisman-winning quarterback, also set the rookie passing record.
This is a perfect example of recency bias.
Yes.
I mean, they're looking at last year's season, which is very easy to do because it's the most recent, obviously, and we're going, oh, man, Baker didn't have a great year. But forget about it. Think about that rookie year. We were so hyped on Baker because of what he was doing on the field. We were believers. We saw the future. We saw the potential. And then last year happened. Then Freddie happened. And everybody forgot.
Yep.
I guess, so let's start with like the Pro Football Focus part of it.
Okay.
Because I feel like we can break this down into 2 big arguments.
Yeah.
So my thing with Burrows, this is not college. This is the elite of the elite NFL. You're coming in as a rookie. With COVID-19, everything's virtual. I feel like those snaps, whether people say they matter or not, I feel like they matter a lot. He has no chemistry with any of the players that are on his team right now. As far as receivers, I mean, look what OBJ and Baker, how long it took for just those guys to kind of link up. And those are 2 elite talents. So for me, it's just kind of crazy that Baker, I've seen Baker do it. I've seen Baker be successful in the second half of that 2018 with Greg Williams, a defensive coach, and Freddie. I mean, I know Freddie was You know, I know it was Freddie, but
But he wasn't running the whole team. I think that was
No.
his problem.
yeah, thank
last
God.
That's before people were hip to his wrinkles.
Yeah.
You know, what kills me is in college, Joe Burrow. I mean, 3/4 of LSU got drafted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was clearly surrounded by NFL talent, best team, best talented roster.
Not only the player talent, but the offensive coordinator is now
Yeah, in the NFL.
Carolina.
Yeah, he's before he had that. By the way, let's go back to his junior year at LSU. 58% completion percentage, only 16 touchdowns.
Yeah.
This dude went from 16 touchdowns to 60 touchdowns. So this guy's done it 1 year. 1 year in college when he was surrounded by the best talent in the country. And Baker Mayfield did it 2 years in college, first of all, a little bit of 3. And he set the rookie passing record in the NFL, not in college.
And only
in the,
13 games.
Yeah, in 13 games in the NFL, not in college.
And I'll throw a couple more things out there, just pumping up Baker, because I do believe in him. He was a walk-on twice.
Yes.
He wasn't getting like scholarships thrown at him in college. He had to go out and prove it to be the man, and he did it.
I think another thing people are kind of overlooking too is, so Burrows is coming into Cincinnati with Zach Taylor.
Are you calling him Burrows?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate the disrespect.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry. So Zach Taylor, he was interim offensive coordinator in 2015. He stepped in for Miami, who they've had this awesome offensive juggernaut system the last 10 years of my life. His points per game were 17, which was lower than the previous coordinator that got fired. Mm-hmm. He was the QB coach for the Rams in 2018. So, I mean, Jared Goff, not bad, but went 0-11 to start his coaching debut for Cincinnati. And then Andy Dalton got benched, who, depending who you talk to, would you rather have Andy Dalton or would you ever rather have Joe? I mean, Andy Dalton is not a slouch, depending on who you ask. But he brought in Ryan Finley, young quarterback. And what happened? Couldn't do anything with him. And 3 more losses. So, like, is he in a position to be successful? Like, I understand that he's talented, but it's not like he's walking into an LSU where there's just 5-star recruits all over the field that he can throw to or hand off to or.
Right.
Cincinnati is, I mean, historically, they're the Browns just a little bit further south. It's not like he's coming into some great organization with all this stability from the top to the bottom. They're just going to really set him up to succeed. This dude's going to show up and they're going to be like, here you go, Joe. Thanks for coming. Here's the keys to the car.
Yeah.
And they're going to tell him to go out there. And people are going to be pinning their ears back because their offensive line sucks.
Yeah.
And this dude's going to be running for his life. And he's going to be like, hey, this isn't LSU anymore. I mean,
Well, and I keep seeing they're talking about his weapons. Oh, he's, what number 1 pick gets to come into a team with these kind of weapons? Okay, let's talk about him. First of all, T. Higgins.
Yeah.
I had another rookie. Never seen him play in the NFL.
Yep.
Could be a bust.
Mm-hmm.
A.J. Green probably won't play. He's always hurt. So, I mean, this is not A.J. Green from 5 years ago. This is 2020 A.J. Green, which 2020 hasn't been good to anybody.
Yeah.
Especially A.J. Green. And then you got Tyler Boyd, who's a pretty good number 2 receiver, but he's not the guy.
Yeah,
they have no tight end.
Yeah, no tight end anymore. Running back, you got Joe Mixon, but
they wouldn't even
year,
throw him the
guy.
ball last year.
Your guy.
Yeah, another Sooner guy. But last year, it was I think week 7 before he started to have any type of traction in the running game. I know fantasy-wise, I benched him or whatnot.
I mean, but they were terrible, too. They were not good.
Who's to say they're not going to be terrible again? You know what I mean?
I completely agree with you. I think this is a huge, like, a lot of people are, and like, it's a big jump to say that he's going to be better than Baker right off the bat.
Yeah.
It's
To
crazy.
have him projected for more yards and more touchdowns than year 3 Baker Mayfield blows my mind.
And the stats-wise, I don't know, it makes me like, I don't like the stats-wise, and that's how they're like, oh, he's going to have more touchdowns, more yards, so that means he's had a better season.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If he's out there and he throws for the 3,700 yards that they said he had, but he had 70 more attempts than, or 100 more attempts than Baker Mayfield, it's a little skewed. If Baker got you more quality and he didn't have to throw the ball as much.
Right, yeah, the
And
Browns
8
might be
less
winning
wins.
games on the run,
Yeah.
with the run game, and Baker's like, okay, I'll throw it when I need to.
Right, yeah, because if you just go based off of like the passing yards, best quarterback in the league last year was Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
He should have won MVP.
Who's he
Stole it from him.
Who's he starting for this year?
Nobody.
Exactly.
What? And so everybody's down on Baker because of last season. Okay, well let's look at some things from last season. He had the worst NFL head coach in the history of head coaches. Okay, set him up to fail. We did everything Baker did well. We did the least amount. Everything that Baker doesn't do well, and we knew he didn't do great. That's what we were highlighting and doing. And even that being said, he had more yards and more touchdowns than they're projecting him to have this year. In his down year, the year that is making everybody think that Baker's a bust and he's awful and all this garbage, he had 3,800 yards and 22 touchdowns. The only reason we're talking bad about Baker last year is because he had 21 picks to go with it.
Yep.
If he cuts that in half, we're going, completion percentage a little low, but Freddie was terrible. He didn't have a terrible sophomore season. It was a sophomore season for Baker in which they set him up to have no success with the offense they were going to run. And he still almost threw for 4,000 yards, and he threw for over 20 touchdowns.
Yeah, and those picks, Josh mentioned it on one of our first episodes. How many of those were off a wide receiver's hands or something? Or
Antonio Callaway against the Niners.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God. Yeah. But, yeah, no, I definitely think that it's crazy to think. Let Burrow prove it first. One, I kind of, in a way, hope that he's kind of successful because of, I don't want him to beat the Browns, but I don't want to see another quarterback go in the NFL because we've seen it so much where you get like this talented guy and they go and then they play on a team and you're like, oh my gosh, that guy's awful. And then he's gone.
I think it'd be fun if Joe Burrow's good because I think a rivalry with Cincinnati would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah.
Been a while.
But I'm not going to sit here and say that he's going to be better than Baker. And then just to kind of move into like more of what Ninkovich said, he quoted, has Baker Mayfield ever played better than what we saw from Joe Burrow last year? Pause.
Yeah.
He was in college last year.
Like we started with it.
Yeah.
He's playing against NFL defense. He's like, oh, how great. Look at what Baker did against the Patriots and how that.
Oh, you
Well,
mean
the best defense in the league last year? Oh, yeah.
In the middle of a rainstorm?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Like, I mean, come on. So he's like, he has not done that. Number 3 for me is Joe Burrow. Number 4 is Baker Mayfield. If we could just go back, 3 years ago, Baker Mayfield won a Heisman Trophy in college.
Yeah. Almost twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him dice up the Buckeyes in the second half. It still hurts.
Yep.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy the year prior to that.
Not one incomplete pass in the second half or something like that. Like, you've never seen Baker play well. What about when he set the rookie touchdown record in 13 games?
Yeah.
You've never seen him play well. Guess what I've never seen Joe Burrow do? Throw an NFL pass.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little too soon to be making these kind of – it's got to be hard to project stats out for a rookie. You've never seen him play in the NFL before. Mm-hmm. But this is just ridiculous. I mean, and if you want to talk about Baker going into or coming out of his sophomore season into year 3, think of the other guys drafted with him that are doing the same thing. Would you rather have Sam Darnold than Baker Mayfield?
No.
Would you rather have Josh Allen than Baker Mayfield?
No.
I wouldn't either. Lamar Jackson's really the only one.
And you got to tailor make your offense for him.
Exactly. He could have gone to any other team and he'd be out of the league already because they wouldn't have done what the Ravens did.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. There's
So-
teams that wanted him to be a wide receiver.
Right.
Saying, no, you're not going to. Bill Polian, I think, was the guy who said he wasn't going to be you aren't going to be a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson knows everything to the Ravens coaching staff.
Yeah.
They-
if he played for Freddie Kitchens, he'd be done already as a quarterback.
Yes.
Nobody tailored anything to Baker last year.
Yeah, and the Ravens, they got lucky because I don't think their coordinator ended up going anywhere, right? He's still there.
Yeah.
Roman?
remember. Yeah.
Greg Roman?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, so I mean, that would have been interesting to see how they would have had to move on from him because he was the guy that made Colin Kaepernick the guy he was for the couple seasons before he kind of fell off and started kneeling.
Yeah.
One thing I put in here, I talked about this. Baker Mayfield is not the first quarterback to have a sophomore slump. I feel like sophomore slumps happen more often than they don't. And he is the first quarterback to have to play a sophomore season with Freddie Kitchens as a head coach. So I feel like last year's a wash.
Yeah, and that's a very good point because when you think about it, you come into the league as a rookie. So you've got sort of an advantage because nobody has tape on you in the NFL. You know, they're nobody has a chance to adjust to what you do because you might not even know what you do yet either. You're just kind of doing it. Well, year 2, people have a full year in some cases or part of a year, whatever. to really look at your tape and say, okay, I see what he does here, I see this, and these are his tendencies. Well, now you're at a disadvantage as the player. Now you have to find a way to, correct that transition. So, and that's where Baker's at. Is he going to make the corrections to overcome what the other teams are able to see in him and scout and all that kind of stuff?
Anybody remember the last LSU quarterback that was taken number 1 overall and how he panned out in the NFL?
Not well.
Yeah.
Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is just, to me, it's absolute garbage. And to me, it's like clickbait by Ninkovich. I mean, he's just trying to, he's trying to take Skip Bayless's spot.
Yeah. And who is he anyway to be on giving opinions?
Yeah. I completely agree with that. I mean, who am I to give opinions? But I mean,
Get out of here.
yeah, this guy, I couldn't believe he said that when I read it. Well, so we're going to kick this heated debate. We're going to move into another thing that I think is kind of crazy. We actually touched on this a couple episodes ago, and I thought that it warranted more discussion. These Pro Football Focus wide receiver group rankings. This includes your tight ends, basically anybody who's going to catch a ball for you. We all think the Browns, probably top 2 or 3 receiving corps in the league. No, 9th. Just behind the Panthers. DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and Robbie Anderson. That insane elite attack.
Yeah,
with no tight ends listed.
Right.
Yeah.
Their best wide receiver is Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I mean, the disrespect for Cleveland's. In this article, like you said, you got him 9th. There's some different ones out there, but with everything we have to, especially including the tight ends,
Yeah.
is like I don't know why we're so down on the list.
What made me upset, too, was just looking at this list, and, they do a quick paragraph or whatever write-up about their reasoning. So they list Christian McCaffrey as one of the key reasons for why the Panthers are where they're at. They don't say a word about Kareem Hunt or anything in our write-up.
Yep.
Right.
But he's going to be a key element in that passing game.
No, I completely agree. Let's just go through a quick rundown of the list so people know where we're sitting. They got Tampa Bay at 1, Chiefs at 2, Cowboys at 3, Saints at 4, Bills at 5, Lions at 6.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll touch on that.
Chargers at 7, Panthers at 8. We're sitting at 9, and then the Broncos at 10. I'll say Tampa Bay and the Chiefs sitting 1 and 2. I'll give it to you. To me, I think,
Yep.
the Chiefs just have so much speed.
And Patrick Mahomes.
So, but to me, the Cowboys at 3, and they mentioned a big reason why they're sitting at 3 is Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup would be the 3rd receiver on our roster. He's the 3rd receiver on their roster. But is Amari Cooper, who's their number 1, is he as good as Odell?
No.
Is he as good as Jarvis?
You could make that argument.
Maybe.
He's definitely not as reliable.
No,
Jarvis
right.
is on the field.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe. So we're going to say that a team whose number 1 wide receiver isn't as good as our 2, or you can make the argument isn't as good as our 2. We're going to put that wide receiver corps ahead of ours. Come
But
on.
Blake, they have CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, another rookie. When did ranking rookies higher than established NFL pros become the thing?
I think it's a lot of just the unknown. They want to think, and then it's a couple games in, you're like, all of a sudden this list will change.
Well, if
They got one guy.
rookies are doing that much, then Donovan Peoples-Jones should put us at number 1 on this list. Easily.
Yeah.
Absolutely easily move us to the top of this list. It's crazy.
Another person they forgot to mention with us is Rashard Higgins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we're going to name 3 receivers plus our tight ends,
And Chubb and Hunt. They touch on as running backs as part of the receiving corps. They don't even touch on them.
yeah,
The guy was catching balls all over the place last
Chubb
year.
had like 400 some yards receiving last year.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to Dallas, who do they have for tight end? They're throwing Blake Jarwin's name out there. I mean, come on,
Yeah,
guys.
Witten
We have
finally
Hooper.
left.
We have Njoku. I mean, both those guys are better than Blake Jarwin.
Yeah.
Blake's favorite broadcaster, Jason Witten. I think he's in Oakland, or not Oakland.
Las
Las
Vegas.
Vegas. Yeah, he is with the Raiders.
Yeah. And then the Saints sitting at 4. So Michael Thomas, in my opinion, maybe best receiver in the game.
Yeah.
I'd give it to him.
I'm
Okay.
okay with that one.
He catches enough balls in the air to be a number 1 and a number 2 on a team.
Yeah.
My problem with putting him at 4 is I don't think this article said Emmanuel Sanders is another number 1. Emmanuel Sanders has not been a number 1 receiver ever,
I was gonna
and
say.
definitely not in the last 5 years. I mean, come on. And then Jared Cook is a solid tight end. So to me, Saints should be on this list, but I don't know. 4 might be high. You have Michael Thomas, and that's basically it.
I'd even be okay if they were like, hey, due to the system that Cleveland is going to run, that's why we're blowing them down. You know what I mean? If it's not just based on ratings or rankings or anything like that. The one that's crazy to me is, you touched on it too. There's, well, we can go down the whole list, I guess. Buffalo. Do you think Stephon Diggs is better than OBJ?
No.
This one,
like John Brown is good. Like I like John Brown. Like he's a stud.
Yeah,
but like, is he better?
okay.
Is he better than Jarvis?
No.
And how about everybody? Blake Reneker's favorite tight end for Buffalo.
Knox.
Yeah.
Ugh. Knox.
You think he's better than Hooper?
He knocked me out of the fantasy playoffs last year. Like that was. I mean, this guy, and then here's the kicker. Cole Beasley's really elevated them.
Thank you for bringing up that name. That
fifth.
makes the difference.
Yeah.
Right there.
Because that trio alone of Stephon Diggs, John Brown, and Cole Beasley, that trio alone, according to this article, bumps the Bills to top 5.
Are we not watching the same game?
So the guy that wrote this, Ben Lindsay, wherever you are, you should be ashamed of yourself.
No.
You should be completely
come
ashamed
on.
of yourself. This is crazy. The other bad one that I like that was just nuts to me is Detroit.
Yeah.
Like, Galladay and Marvin Jones Jr. Like, and then they were like, oh, well, TJ Hawkinson. I'm like, I picked that guy up in free agency last
Danny
year. And he did
Amendola
nothing.
remains
Yes.
a solid option in the slot at 34 years old.
He hasn't been
Really?
relevant. What was
When he played for the Rams,
even when he played
Played
for
for
the
the Patriots,
even when he played for
yeah.
the Patriots, he was like
Hurt.
You'd hear his name like once every couple games.
Yeah.
yeah.
You had to play him every 5th game in fantasy because he'd have a huge game and then wouldn't do anything for weeks on end.
Marvin Jones Jr. is legit. Kenny Galladay is, we'll call him solid.
They're solid players, but to say that they're better than Beckham Jr. and Jarvis and
That's the thing. And as a collective group,
Yeah.
we don't know what their running backs can do. I mean, Kerryon Johnson is hurt every other
Yeah.
game. We don't know if DeAndre Swift, I mean, again, another rookie.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him play. Who's their? I mean, yeah, okay. TJ Hawkinson didn't look that great last year. I mean, you're going to
I
give
didn't
them
see
a
him.
higher ranking than the Browns
Yeah.
with proven talent. And real quick, I want one more note about Buffalo because that one, I'm sorry guys, that one's still really digging in.
go.
Yeah.
When a wide receiver switches teams, there is a drop off. At least in the beginning,
chemistry-wise.
the first season, the
Yeah.
first half of the season, whatever. You saw it with Beckham last year.
Yeah,
There was a
completely agree.
huge drop off. To think that Diggs is going to come out here and make the Bills a top 5 receiving core, really?
And are we really, really sold that Josh Allen is that, like, don't get me wrong, like,
He can run the ball. That's pretty.
Yeah,
That's
like-
that's his biggest
but are we
thing is he
thinking
can
he's
run.
this like, will absolutely just tear you up passer?
No, but-
I haven't seen it yet.
Stephon Diggs, a lot of his yards streaking down the field, Kirk Cousins puts it on a dime. Josh Allen's going to overthrow him by 5 yards.
And I don't know the stats, but that's what I've heard a lot of too, is that he's going from the most accurate passer in the league to one of the most inaccurate passers, deep ball passers in the league.
Yeah.
In Josh Allen. So I don't think Diggs is going to have the type of year that obviously this guy thinks.
No. And what's worse to you guys here, the Bills at 5 or the Panthers at 8?
Yeah,
I wouldn't even
is
have
bad.
the Panthers in the top 20 probably.
Yeah, I like so. I don't
They
know. It
picked up
sucks.
Robbie Anderson,
Robbie
like.
Anderson, he's garbage. Like I just think, oh yeah, I'm really glad that I drafted that guy, and he didn't do anything for me. He just. And obviously, like Sam Darnold was his quarterback, so that probably maybe
Adam
that's
Gase is
the
the
sticking
coach,
Yeah,
too.
maybe that's the sticking point. Like maybe that's where I'm frustrated. But like Curtis Samuel, yeah, Jesus. Curtis Samuel, very good for Ohio State, and he's been decent for Carolina. Like I'm not knocking these guys and saying that they're not good, but do I think that they're talent wise better than Landry's or Beckham's?
No, not
No.
even close.
I would put Samuel kind of in that number 3 receiver range with Higgins.
Yes.
Kind of like that would be
Yeah.
the comp for me. Not a number 2.
No.
DJ Moore is a good receiver. He really is. He's not Beckham, but he's also a lot younger. He's had how many different quarterbacks in the last couple of years?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it.
All of them.
They have no tight end.
No.
How are they at 8?
Well, the other thing is like, I think everybody's big on Teddy Bridgewater going there. Well, hey, he might have been really good in New Orleans because he was thrown to Michael Thomas.
Yeah,
And
and great
Sean-
system.
and Sean
Payton
Payton.
was
Yeah.
calling plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Teddy Bridgewater wasn't he wasn't bad as a quarterback in Minnesota, but he wasn't like your franchise leader going to take you to the Super Bowl type of a quarterback.
He was on that path until he got hurt. I mean, Minnesota liked him a lot, but we're going to find out. And who knows what you get there. I don't know. And rookie head coach,
Yeah,
like,
a guy from college. How well
Baylor's head coach. Oh, cool.
So
we have a rookie head coach too.
Teddy,
Well,
Teddy
I'm not worried about that.
He's worked in the NFL
He's
for
been in the
15
NFL.
years.
Yeah.
He's familiar with the organization, at least, we can say.
Teddy Bridgewater's best year in the NFL was 2015 before he got hurt. He started all 16 games, threw for 3,200 yards and 14 touchdowns.
Oh, well, if he was for the Browns, we would be dogging on him. We'd be saying, wow. Everybody from ESPN and Rob Ninkovich would be saying how terrible he is and how Joe Burrow is going to be so much better than him, if that's what we're saying.
So, to me, it's interesting. Sitting at 13 is the Falcons.
Oh, my God, with Julio
With
Jones.
Julio Jones and
And
Calvin Ridley. And the knock why they're sitting at 13 is that they don't have a ton of depth. If your starters are DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel, who's your depth?
Well,
Those are bad.
and they have Gurley. Like,
And they picked up Hayden Hurst, good tight. I mean, going to be a decent tight end from Baltimore.
From Baltimore,
that they picked up. And the other one that's disrespectful is 12 with the Cardinals. They just get DeAndre Hopkins. I feel like they would have been 12 without DeAndre Hopkins because you had Larry Fitzgerald.
This guy also has the Eagles listed ahead of the Rams.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Eagles. I
Eagles
couldn't tell
don't-
you who their wide receiver was last year.
yeah, because they were all
Alshon
hurt.
Jeffrey's their number one. He won't play.
Yeah.
JJ our Thega Whiteside. No, I think he caught 4 passes last year. Deshaun Jackson's 85 years old.
Yeah, he's awesome if he can say
And somehow they're ahead of the Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot.
The biggest knock on the Eagles last year and like why everybody said that Carson Wentz was struggling is because of how bad their receiving core was. They were the slowest receiving core in the league, no separation at all. But yeah, somehow we come into this season and they're ranked at 14th ahead of the Rams. This list is insane to me.
Oh, and let's not forget the Bengals are 2 spots behind the Browns at 11. We just talked about this.
Yep. It must be because of Giovanni Bernard. He must be bringing up their rankings that much. That's the only logical thing I can think of. I mean, that's got to be it. I don't know.
Well, anything else to say on this list?
Just please back us up, Cleveland, and perform better.
Because we need to make these guys eat crow. The Bills and the Panthers. I mean, come on now. I feel like I talk about it for like another 2 hours. Well, all right. Well, let's slide into something maybe a little bit more positive. A list that I think maybe people got right. Bleacher Report, ranked the running back duos in the league, and we feel like we got a pretty good one. And Bleacher Report agrees. Sitting at number 1 for running back duos in the NFL ending this year, your hometown Cleveland Browns with Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. To me, that's a no-brainer.
With this rebuild offensive line,
the
offensive philosophy of Stefanski, run the ball. I mean, these two are number 1 running backs. They're top 5 running backs in the league by themselves.
Yes.
So
to me, what separates us from everybody else on this list, like what I'm looking at, like the Panthers are at 2. Obviously, I think Christian McCaffrey is better than both our running backs.
Yeah, but I'm going to time out real quick on this. This list is the best or top NFL running back duos.
Exactly.
Who's their duo?
I didn't even write his name down, and I don't care. Don't even say it. No, go ahead and say it.
It's Mike Davis.
What's his rating?
71.
Wow.
So this is what I'm saying. This is what separates us. Even if we go to number 3,
this one,
the Jets, Le'Veon Bell and Frank Gore. Le'Veon Bell is a very good running back. Okay.
Frank
okay
Gore, all he does is get 1,000-yard seasons, no matter what.
he's
5, the Cowboys, Zeke Elliott. I think Zeke, if he's not better than Chubb, they're on the same playing field, in my opinion. Okay, but his backup's Tony Pollard. Mm-hmm. So what separates us is the fact that our number 2 running back was the NFL leading rusher 2 years ago.
And I think so many people forget that.
Yeah.
Well, and they're both, either one of those guys, Chubb or Hunt, are both true number 1s. They both could take the whole workload.
Yep.
And we're sitting with both of them and do whatever you want.
Yeah, so put that in perspective. Number 6 on this list is the Denver Broncos with Melvin Gordon. He's rated at an 85. Kareem Hunt is an 89.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon's their number one. Yeah. So the Broncos, by the way, though, I do think the Broncos have a solid backfield. Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay.
A lot of talk that they might be trading Philip Lindsay. He could be on the trade market.
I wouldn't do that.
There's one team that if their quarterback does not succeed this year, they got to get him out of there. Because, man.
You talking about Denver?
Yeah, the weapons they have there.
That's Blake's boy.
I like Drew Lock.
He likes him singing on the sideline.
I like his swag. I like him. He reminds me a lot of Baker, just like without the getting arrested video. Like he's just got like swag and just. I like Drew Lock. I think he's gonna be sweet. But I screw the Broncos.
So like we talked about this before too, like where we thought our running back duos were, and as far as the Browns and everything. I know, Josh, you were really, really high up on San Fran. Did you see where they were at on this list?
I'm still scrolling.
Yeah, they're way down. So
what?
Okay, I didn't know I was gonna hand it to you for a little bit, just because I feel like it is pretty disrespectful considering how good that system is for running backs.
You just said it. This is a list of highest rated running backs, not highest rated running back system.
Well, that's why Baltimore would be all the way down here at 9.
It's crazy that
them and San Fran should be 1 and 2 based on the system.
Baltimore's best running back plays quarterback.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot on here that are just I don't know. Like I like that we're number 1, but then some of these other ones where you got. It was the Atlanta Falcons with Gurley is 28.
Yeah, but Gurley, man, talk about a fall off the cliff.
Oh my word!
He's got worse knees than I do. Because he takes the Rams to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and now he's ranked 28th on a Bleacher Report running back in the NFL. That's insane.
How are the Vikings with Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison 17th?
Yeah. That was another one that I had.
It's crazy.
On here that they were a top duo in the NFL last year.
Dalvin Cook is a top 5 back.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
So you mean to tell me that Alexander Mattison is worse than Mike Davis? And you got the Panthers sitting in number 2. And I know Christian McCaffrey's really, really good, but he's not – I mean, he's better than Dalvin Cook, but he's not so much better than Dalvin Cook that it puts them at 2 and it puts the Vikings at 17.
Well, how about they got Kansas City at 10 and they got their RB1 as the rookie?
Yeah, I saw that.
You don't even. I mean, that Edwards-Helaire. You don't even know if he's not even going to get any touches.
Yeah.
I mean, if he does, he's catching passes because they don't hand the ball off much in Kansas City.
And he won't get those touches.
The one that I thought was, I mean, it's in our division, but James Conner, the disrespect on them, the Steelers.
Good.
32.
Yeah.
Last now, I don't even know who Anthony McFarland Jr., the RB2. I thought they had Benny Snell or something like that. I at least knew that guy's name.
Yeah.
I don't know who this guy is.
He's rated at 68, though.
But James Conner, like 2 years ago, he was the reason that they said, we don't need Le'Veon Bell anymore because we got James Conner and he's better. And now they're 32nd.
Yeah, this is weird. The McFarland's the RB2 because they have Jalen Samuels.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot.
And Benny Snell.
Right.
So
I don't know
This-
where this
I
whoever
feel like
wrote
this was
this
just an
forgot.
excuse to put Pittsburgh last.
McFarland's making a splash this year, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
draft him on your fantasy team in a late
Yeah,
round.
it's a first-round pick. Take him early.
How about the poor Rams, though? Man, remember when they were just stacked with talent? We were like, man, nobody's ever going to beat the Rams again. Now they're sitting with the 31st ranked running back duo. RB1, Cam Akers ranked 77.
A rookie.
Yeah, Rook. Yeah.
And then Darrell Henderson, a second-year guy who played, what do you have, like 2 or 3 carries last year, I think? He didn't really do much.
They did that to themselves, though. They did all those crazy contracts with, Jalen Ramsey, and they've completely done that to himself. I don't feel bad for the Rams at all. Hey, welcome to how this feels. Get prepared. You're going to be awful for years, and hopefully it's not as long as I've watched this. So good for you guys. Well done, front office.
Now, that Super Bowl hangover hit them hard, just like it hit the Panthers hard.
Yep.
And I wonder how San Fran's going to, bounce back from their loss.
I think Kyle Shanahan's a good coach.
Yeah.
And I also think they have a good system where, as we can see with their running backs, I don't think they need the elite of elite players in certain positions to be good because of how good their system's going to be.
They were a plug and play at that running back position.
At 3, yeah. Breida, Moser, and
Jeffrey Wilson.
Yeah, they literally
It
just
really didn't matter.
yeah.
The undrafted guy that was a towel boy last week is now rushing for 200 yards this week.
I saw a stat that not a single Niners lineman was like in the top 10 graded lineman in the league or something.
It's unreal.
But they had, and to me that it's a scheme, blocking schemes. They create holes just by movement.
Yeah,
And a scheme is something, that we've never seen in the last 12 months of football.
Yeah. We liked Shanahan. At least I did. I liked Shanahan when he was in Cleveland.
He's just another coach for us. Just that's how it breaks down.
You know what's crazy?
The path to success.
He saw the writing on the wall so bad when he was in Cleveland that he came up with like a 2-hour PowerPoint presentation to get out of his coaching contract with the Browns. He went to like Jimmy and D and whoever our front office was. It Sashi? I don't know if it was Sashi yet.
Terrible.
No.
And
Oh, it was Ray Farmer.
yeah,
Wasn't it?
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, because he went to him and was like, "You guys got to get me out of here." And they were like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, as a matter of fact,
Look.
here you go. Let's go through the PowerPoint." He had like a clicker, and that, and he got out. Now he gets to go to Super Bowls with San Fran.
Yeah.
So good for him,
Smart
man.
life choice.
Yeah, no kidding. Hopefully, Stefanski turns that around.
I'm sorry. If somebody's shoving Johnny Manziel down your throat, I'd want out too.
Mm-hmm.
We're not even allowed to say all the nice things. Like, I feel like we're kind of like edited on what we can even say about Johnny Manziel in this surrounding. So I'm just not, I don't want to be that guy that'll say what I know Johnny for. Johnny's just, I'm sure there's clubs in Cleveland that know Johnny, really
New York.
well.
Wasn't he lost at a nightclub in New York for like 3 days?
In their bathroom. In a stall.
We could say he wasn't prepared for the snowy weather in Cleveland.
Oh, well played.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Well played. There you go. Okay.
Oh, man. All right. So Bleacher Report had us ranked number 1, so we'll give them some props on that. Got to move into some more sad news territory, in my opinion here. Pro Football Focus and, NFL media writer Peter King ranked the rosters in the NFL. And one of these is, and the other one is complete.
Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
It's complete garbage. It's
Okay.
it's insane to me where Peter King has us ranked. So I'll just start here with this Pro Football Focus.
Mm-hmm.
Pro Football Focus, if I remember correctly, and I'm scrolling here, so I'm stalling. What are we sitting at? 10th on this list?
11th.
Which is insane to me that we're 11th behind the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like the Steelers, we're not talking about systems.
Coaching,
we're not talking
yeah.
about coaches. We're talking about you put your players on paper and our players on paper, and we're going to compare them. The Browns are way better than the Steelers. We just talked about their running backs are ranked last in the league by Bleacher Report. Their quarterback's coming off of elbow surgery. We don't even know if he can throw the football. Their number 1 wide receiver I'm seeing here is ranked 63.1.
Yeah.
You're going to say this roster is better than the Browns roster?
So I'm going to kind of piggyback on what you said. I'm looking at ours and I'm like looking through the numbers and I'm like, there's a couple that they had like Mac Wilson at like 41. I'm like, man, I don't think he's like, that's awful. Mac 41. So then I look at OBJ and they have him at 68.7. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty bad. They have him 10 points lower than Landry, which if I would have told you that in our argument on our hot take episode, Blake, I would have won the argument, right? Hey, 7 points lower. I mean, it's obvious, obviously. He's basically has the same score as Deontay Johnson from Pittsburgh. Do we think those guys are even on the same playing field at all?
No.
Dude, I'm very confused.
Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson's got a 79.4 ranking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley has a 73.8. He's 5 points higher than OBJ. You think they're making that trade straight up? In the past, we would have. We'd have been like, oh, OBJ for Cole Beasley? Yeah, we'll also throw in a first-round pick just to make sure we get this thing done. Like, it's just crazy to me that I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here. Like, there's a filter or
like
something.
I said, we're not talking about last season. We're not talking about who our coaches are. We're not talking about what our systems are, what our schedules. We're talking about on paper to paper comparison. the Browns have a top 5 roster. There's the only holes on our roster is middle linebacker. And a question mark maybe at quarterback. And that's a big maybe.
You could say linebacker in general. I mean, we're a little wet behind the ears. We're young, but like
our outside backers though are Vernon and Garrett. I mean, if Vernon's healthy, we're regarded as our outside linebackers as being studs. We're about to have the highest paid outside backer in the NFL probably. And Garrett.
Well, for end,
he's an D-end outside linebacker. He
Pass
stands
rusher.
up something.
yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, to me, they have the Eagles ranked ahead of us. Pro Football Focus does.
So I don't hate the Pro Football Focus. I don't hate it completely, other than I think it's kind of, there's some really, really questionable ones. Eagles are like 2 years removed from a Super Bowl. The teams that are above us, I'm like, there's legit rosters.
Paper to paper, though. Their running backs are Miles Sanders. Their receivers are Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson.
I trust me, I get it. We just had this whole argument for on the last 2 topics ago. I completely get it. I just think some of the teams that are ahead of us, Baltimore. Do you think Baltimore has a better roster than we do?
I'll say Baltimore, the Chiefs.
Yep.
Maybe the Saints.
Yep.
The list ends there.
That's it.
Well,
Like they got the Niners at 3.
I think the Niners.
The Niners have a stacked defense, but we just talked about how on offense it's very system oriented.
Right. So, yeah, if we're talking
When we're talking paper
player
to paper,
personnel,
yeah.
they're not. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
On paper, their roster's not as good as the Browns. At least not on one side of the football.
I don't argue that. There's other teams that I'm like, I'm pretty sure Buffalo's ahead of us.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
which
Apparently, Cole Beasley.
he is.
Yeah.
I bumped my
legit.
head and woke up, and Cole Beasley is like
All-pro.
wide receiver 1.
Yes.
He's on the all-decade team.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, okay, so here, I'm going to throw out a name just real quick. Who knows who A.J. Dillon is?
It sounds familiar, but
Is he the rookie running back for Green Bay?
Yeah, rookie running back
Okay.
from Green Bay. His score is 91.3.
so the
Nick
rookies.
Nick Chubb's is
So
88.7.
I did see this. The rookie ratings are all very twisted. They have Burrow at 96, but then
Yeah.
they have like
Jedrick Wills is
Patrick
in
Mahomes at
88.7 for us.
Maybe
And
that's what they
Conklin's
graded
80.
at in college.
I don't.
Well, there
maybe.
needs to be some sort of an adjustment process
And then-
when you're going to put him on an NFL roster ranking.
That's one thing we're not talking about. Too. We keep throwing about their skill position's not as good as our skill position. The Browns up front now have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Is if Jedrick Wills plays, like everybody thinks he's going to play. I mean, we're sitting at potential All-Pro at left tackle, left guard, center, and right tackle.
And no matter what, it will not be worse than last year.
Yeah.
yeah. There's
Guess who's not seeing the field this year? Chris Hubbard and Greg Robinson.
We could go out there with 3 linemen and it'd be better than last year.
Like arena football. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
all right,
I don't like this.
So we're freaking out about this list, okay?
yeah.
Let's freak out
I'm
some
not
more.
freaking out entirely, but I have a feeling where we're going right now.
Allow me to freak you out.
Yeah, I know you
Okay.
are. Yeah.
So, Peter King, who I used to think knew anything about football, came up. He ranked the rosters. Okay. You think we're in the top 10?
I can tell you that we're not.
You think we're in the top 15?
We're also not there. Keep going.
You think we're in the top 20?
Also not.
24th. There's no way you can objectively look at our roster paper on paper and say that the Browns have the 24th best roster in the league. That he's got Houston ahead of the New England Patriots are ahead of us. The only reason the Patriots were any good last year is because they have Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Roster-wise, they were not good at all. This is the one that almost made my brain explode. The Miami Dolphins
Yeah.
are sitting at 19th.
Yeah.
5 spots better than the
They
Browns.
got Tua though now.
Yeah.
So
He's got a worse hip than I do.
So I was okay with the Football Focus. I can live with that. This one I'm like, man, what's going on? Some of the teams that you already hit. So the rosters that are ahead of us, The Chargers. Okay, so like I see positions that they could be better, possibly. What about quarterback? We've already that even if they go with Tyrod, he wasn't better than what we had.
No, our guy
Baker
beat him
replaced
out.
him.
Absolutely. So what about, you said New England, Miami's really, but the one that I was like, my goodness, what's going on? They have Las Vegas Raiders at 8.
Dude, that's the one I'm staring at right now. Like,
What did they show you?
They're-
I mean, they got Jacobs, I guess. He's
They're-
good.
Yeah, and I liked it. Yeah,
do you see who he's highlighting in this paragraph about?
we
them?
talked about it before.
Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
Tyrell Williams.
Rookie. Terrible. I mean, Hunter Renfro.
Yeah.
And then
that Clemson guy
Lynn
that
Bowden
they're
and
walking on at
Brian
Clemson?
Edwards.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 rookies listed in his reasoning here.
Well,
Jason
and we
Witten.
talked about Ruggs. It's like Al Davis's ghost crept back into the draft room, and he was like, "Hey, I know we're doing this thing from everybody's basement, but take that guy. Take the fastest guy available on the board."
He's got the Steelers at 10. What is this infatuation with the Steelers roster?
Yeah, I don't.
Their defense is nice.
Shays
Some of
are
these
back
people,
this year?
some of these people they're highlighting: Chase Claypool, rookie, tight end, receiver? Question mark. We don't even know what he's going to play. Eric Ebron. You mean the guy who was a
That I
bust
could-
with Matthew Stafford,
Yeah.
and he had one good year with Andrew Luck, who Andrew Luck makes everybody good.
Yeah, he's
Javon Hargrave. Who's that?
that's what I was
Exactly.
saying. I'm like, I don't even know. who
Exactly.
You
that
know what
guy
I mean?
is.
Like, I don't understand. So they got what? They still have Bud Dupree, and then they got Bush in the middle, who was solid last year as a rookie, and then they got T.J. Watt and Minka Fitzpatrick. They got some good defensive players. Obviously, I think the Steelers are going to be in any discussion when it comes to the AFC North because that's just what they do. But this is on paper.
yeah.
There's no way they
not
have
like
a
they
top
were-
10 roster on paper.
Tomlin is going to run out there and also play a position, because if he did, I'd say, oh, well, then he's probably smart enough that they'd be okay. It's just, for me, like when I look at this, like if you're a Cleveland Brown, like I know we always talk about the Patriots do this, like where it's like Belichick is the master of bulletin board material. If this isn't bulletin board material, my God, like if I'm on the Browns and I'm like, oh, well, apparently Henry Ruggs III is so good that he's better than anybody that we have on our receiver core. That's all I need. Like, that's all. I come in and look at this Peter King article every day and I go, well,
We better play well.
hey, yeah, we're going to destroy everybody.
I mean, I'm looking at 14 here. The Colts roster's better than the Browns by 10 spots. Come on now.
Not that much better.
No,
yeah.
I like Marlon Mack.
Mm.
Okay, and tell me another person on their team.
Well, Old Man Rivers.
Quentin Nelson, man, I want him.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
added Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
So this is supposed to be what takes them from mediocre to great. They're saying that the biggest myth in football, like the last 5 years, is that the Chargers, roster-wise, the Chargers just have like this insanely talented roster. And they had Phillip Rivers, and they sucked. So you mean to tell me you're going to add that quarterback who couldn't elevate that great roster of the Chargers, and you're going to put him on this average roster of the Colts, and all of a sudden they're 14th, and they're going to be awesome? Does anybody remember that Phillip Rivers just like couldn't stop throwing interceptions last year?
Yeah.
Everybody's knocking on Baker for throwing interceptions last year, and that's why people are about to label him as a bust. But Phillip Rivers is just out here throwing 3 picks a game, and he's about to take the Colts to the Super Bowl.
Well, and he's got the Cardinals ranked at 18th.
It's
Did
insane.
we watch? I mean, did anybody watch the Cardinals try to play defense last year?
Yeah.
They were a joke.
Must have been Simmons. Must have them taking Simmons. No, he's good, but is he that good?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean, we're talking about roster,
Yeah.
right? Not just like, oh, you
One
got a
guy.
superstar. What? He's a
Yeah,
rookie,
got
so
a
potential
stud.
superstar, one spot, big deal. I just this does blow my mind.
Apparently, Miami just had such a great. We thought they had a good draft.
It was
Apparently, they
the
just
best draft ever.
yeah, absolutely.
Who are they rolling out on the offensive line again this year?
So
Couldn't
The
tell
same.
you. Couldn't tell you one name, brother. Couldn't tell you one name.
somebody that we've talked about today just doesn't know what they're talking about. The Power Football or Pro Football Focus Panthers were 8th in receiver rankings, 2 in running back rankings. Peter King's got them as the 29th best roster. So somebody doesn't know what they're talking about.
Somebody's wrong.
Well, I read that Peter King's on vacation right now in one article, so maybe he just threw this together real quick. He's like, I gotta get in the plane, gotta get out of here, just jotting some names down.
He had an intern step in for the day, and he was just like, hey, I was just scrolling through Madden's ratings. And
it's the teams I like to play with on Madden.
See, his big reasoning in here, too, is about Baker not being consistent last year. But, like, like you said, the Chargers are in front of us. They don't even have a quarterback right now. I mean, New England, they don't have a quarterback right now. Denver, who knows?
Yeah.
Miami, who knows? Arizona, this is crazy. Chicago's at 17, and their quarterback is so much worse than Baker.
I saw that one, and I just didn't even type anything.
Yeah.
Foles is only ever good
in the playoffs
with the Eagles.
In the playoffs.
I mean, come on now. To me, this is we should fly up to New York and kick the crap out of Freddie Kitchens.
He did.
He did this to us. This is what he did to us last year with having us so unprepared, no scheme, no system. I mean, we didn't have much of a reputation to begin with, and he just took a dump on the little one we had.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll just say, Baker, if you watch this or if you listen to this, we believe in you.
Absolutely.
I think he's out there listening. I go to bed at night thinking he heard us.
Yeah,
he might not be answering my Instagram DMs, but he's listening to the show.
Or accepting your game invite on Xbox.
Yeah, I hit that guy up all the time. He'll never play Call of Duty with me. But so this list, this one probably fired me up the most because to me, it's almost inarguable if you're just looking at on the paper roster. To me, it's easy that the Browns are top 5, and when it comes to just on the paper roster.
Apparently, we're just trash. I mean, we're just so
Nobody's
bad.
high on us.
Yeah, except for all of us.
And just saying, I'm actually okay with it.
Yeah, under the radar.
Yeah, we'll be the underdog. Nobody will think about us all year long. I'm good with that. I'd rather that than be like, Browns.
So last year,
top 3 team in the league or whatnot, roster wise. You got the great running back, great wide receiver, should win it all. You guys don't go 16-0. You guys failure.
Here's my thing: if Peter King comes out and makes this list and says, "Hey, I think the Browns have a great roster, but historically they're the Browns. They suck. I'm picking them to win 7 games this year." I'd be like, okay, Peter King, I see you.
I respect that.
I kind of feel that way. That's not what he did. He said, hey, the Browns have the 24th best roster on paper in the league. Mm-hmm. Okay, Peter.
They have a shot at being a top 5 pick next year.
Yeah.
In the draft.
I mean, come on.
Well, here's the other thing with a lot of these lists is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are like in the top 5. I've looked at like 6 different ones since we've been talking here. I keep pulling up ones to try to make me feel better that the Browns are higher. But like everybody has like Tom Brady, yes, GOAT quarterback, but him alone coming in takes them to be like a top 3 team roster wise.
Yeah, we didn't
tread
talk
lightly. About. Josh is going to come over the table.
Yeah, or he's going to get upset. This could end up being an epic showdown here. I don't know what to think.
I just don't see where that takes your whole roster from. I mean, I wonder what the Bucs were ranked last year.
My biggest thing with that is they're sitting there going, Tom Brady's not going to throw 30 picks.
Well,
and if Jameis Winston throws 15 picks instead of 30 picks last year, who knows what the Buccaneers do.
They still are not winning that division.
I mean, it's close.
That's going to be some good football in that division.
So,
if the Patriots, I'm telling you, if the Patriots win their division again this year, there's no hope for anybody else in that division.
No.
Here's the thing. Okay, so side note before we wrap this thing up.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bills.
If the Patriots win the division this year, does that hurt Tom Brady's legacy?
Man. Okay.
Side note.
Well,
because there's no.
Before we go into that, just remember who's in the division. Okay, it's Miami, it's the Jets.
Hey,
it's
Miami
the Bills.
have Peter King's all high on the Dolphins right now.
Higher than Cleveland.
Yeah. And
I know, but
I don't know if you heard, but Cole Beasley plays for the Bills.
I'm just saying that the Patriots' path to winning their division with their strategy, their system, just the organization itself, it's a lot easier than a lot easier for the Browns to win it.
I agree.
Or the
Bucs. Yeah, the Bucs could go down there and Tom Brady could go 10-6 or whatnot and lose the division.
Yeah,
I mean that's a tough division down there. I mean, there's good
Patriots
teams.
could win. Patriots could win theirs at 7-9.
So here's what I'm saying,
Yes.
though. If we do a roster-to-roster comparison on paper of that division, the Patriots might have the worst roster.
No,
Yeah,
I don't know. About
It'd be
that.
between them and, well,
Between them and the Jets?
I was going to
So
say
their
between them and my.
defense last year, even if you don't want to say they had the best defense, they had a legit top 3 defense.
But tell me roster-to-roster.
I think we're
tell me another defensive player on the Patriots besides Stephon Gilmore.
no,
Exactly.
Danny Shelton.
Exactly.
I don't draft them.
So we're talking, like I said, we're talking
Well, they have Dante
roster-to-roster.
Hightower, the linebacker there.
there
Okay.
you go.
And can you tell me any offensive players they're going to have this year now?
Jared Stidham.
So, I mean, like I said, on paper,
all their-
obviously,
Michelle.
Yeah,
James
James
White.
White.
so
Yeah.
obviously they have the best coach
Cam
in
Newton.
NFL ever. But on paper, the Patriots should win like 3 games.
But they won't.
So
They won't.
that's what I'm saying. If they come out and win their division, does that just solidify the argument that Tom Brady's a system quarterback?
Well, I think the other side of that coin is what he does in Tampa Bay. So if he
Yeah.
takes Tampa Bay to the playoffs this year and New England goes to the playoffs, I mean, then it's kind of like, you can't really. But if he goes down there and Tampa Bay wins 4 games and the Patriots go to and win their division without him, then yes, I think that would.
If he goes
Kinda
down there
tarnish
and
that.
goes to the playoffs, though, with Tampa Bay, are we really going, man, Tom Brady's really good?
His legacy.
They have the
his
best. They have one of the
legacy
best
is-
rosters in the NFL.
Yeah. His
Well,
legacy
Bruce Arians is a
cemented.
good coach too.
Yeah,
I like
his legacy cemented. He's a future Hall of Famer.
And I agree. I'm just playing devil's
Yeah.
advocate. I think if the Patriots somehow go to the playoffs this year, people are going to be going,
It was all Bill.
it was not Tom. It was all Bill.
I think some of the Patriots, we say, is Tom Brady a system quarterback? I think you can kind of look at Baltimore in the same fashion and say, well, is Lamar Jackson a system quarterback? Well, they built the system for him, so yes and no. He's very good at executing that system. So I think Tom Brady was the same way.
Yeah,
They
I
kind
agree.
of built it for his strengths and his weaknesses, and obviously he flourished in it. So,
Which is good coaching.
yeah.
Take
I mean,
notes,
that's what you
Freddie.
need.
So that was just a little hypothetical I want to throw out there. I didn't even have that typed up. I went off teleprompter there.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Just a little added value for the
Yeah.
listeners, right?
That's what you get at the Dawgs. First episode back in the
ad-lib.
studio. I'm
yeah,
bringing
we're on
the heat.
fire today.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at him. He's got a nice polo on today.
Classing it up.
I even
Yeah.
wore slacks. Yeah. Well, hey, guys, fun episode. I think we'll wrap this thing up before we bore people. Remember to check us out on all of our social media accounts. For all you Facebook users out there, you need to just step your game up a little bit. Zach Kopp running our Twitter has already got more followers than us, and I don't like that. Check us out on Facebook, The Dawgs. Check us out on Instagram. We got our camera woman here taking pictures for us so we can get some more content up. Zach's running the Twitter page.
Yep.
Subscribe on YouTube.
Yes, please
We need
subscribe on
100.
YouTube. We're over halfway to halfway. Okay, so please help us out. I'll feel so much more legit if we can get to 100 subscribers. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We've still been getting a good amount of feedback, and it's awesome. We love doing this, and we're happy to be back in the studio. And don't forget to check out 99 Miles Per Hour with Percy Gardner. He's got a lot of good guests. It's a good, fun show. Make sure you check that out. And have a good week, guys.